Okay, as a favor to my friend Ann Murray down in Georgia, who's interested in this stuff, I'm going to show you how to make a hot glue shotgun slug, which allows you to make a home defense round. By the way, it's a very practical thing to do for make a slug from field load, birdshot, whatever. A lot cheaper than buying them. Now to do it, what I have is this plain white hot glue. Comes in sticks. This happens to be Arrow, and the lighter colored glue works better, I found. I've got an old swing line hot glue gun I've had for probably 30 years. I've got some minimal tools here, a little screwdriver. This is Remington number 8 field load. Any of it will work. I've been making it out of number 8s and 7.5s because I've got a lot of it. And I made some out of some number 4s a little while ago. In fact, some of the shots in this thing here. And this is a supply of lead shot that I've accumulated by just playing around with this stuff, because the loads that you put back in are always going to be a little lighter than than what was in there, simply because you've got hot wax in there displacing part of the space. Or not hot wax, but hot glue. Some people make them out of hot wax. I prefer glue. This happens to be a hot wax round, and you see the top is cut off of it, and basically you just pour the shot in there with hot wax and it forms up and solidifies, and it works real fine. The problem with it is that they'll melt in your pocket. So on a hot day, if you're out shooting, you reach in there and get a handful of mushy glue or something instead of a good usable round. Now, one thing that you might want to think about, you don't have to, this is a piece of 3/4 inch type K copper rigid pipe, and the interior diameter is exactly the ID is exactly as the OD outside diameter of a 12 gauge shotgun shell. And the reason I use it, and you can see when I fit it down on here, it comes down almost flush, a little less than flush with the end of the shell. And that's good, because if I want to, I can take a razor knife, trim this off like this very smoothly, and make an open-ended shell, which I've done to make for instance, let me show you some. These are actual slugs in here. I cast these are solid slugs, and I cast them and then cemented them in with hot glue. And you can see I cut the ends off. Now with these glue slugs, these hot glue slugs, I open these up, and basically, and Remington seems to work better for this than Winchester for some reason. But you just gouge these things open the best way you can. When you get them opened up, this is all open to interpretation, whatever you like, works best for you. This little screwdriver happens to work very well for just kind of opening that thing up once I get it started. As you can see there, the shell now is open on the end, and the sleeve, with all that pressing and gouging I was doing on there, the sleeve has kept the shotgun shell from becoming deformed on the end. So that keeps it nice and neat. Now there's not a whole lot of there's no big trick to this. The way I do it is, and try to keep the glue off the sides of the inside sides of the wall. Once you get this thing opened up, just try to put a little squirt down in there that'll cover the bottom of it. If you get it on the sides, the shot will stick to it, and it just makes it a little messier to work with. It's no big deal. But this little scoop, I just put some in there. Actually, I put a fair number in there, and then I take, well, I thought I had my tools lying out here. I'll just use this. This happens to be a pipe tamper tool, but it works very well because it's got a flat end. Stick this thing in there and just kind of pack that shot in. And again, it doesn't have to be any certain size shot. And I want to pour out all that are not held in there by now, and then hit it with another shot of hot glue. Add some more shot. Tap that down. That way you're forcing the shot down into the hot glue. Pour out any that's not cemented in there already. Repeat. And when it starts to get kind of full, you don't want to fill it too full. That's about, you can't really tell from there, but that's about level with the edge of the copper brass. But it still had some that wasn't cemented in there, so I'll do it again. And give it a few more. And I get it in there about where I want it. What I do is, it's about, now this right here is maybe a little past the level of copper sleeve. And at that point, I just put a squirt of that, not too much, right in the center, just a squirt of that hot glue, and then start folding this in on it, and it will crimp more or less back to the way it was before you opened it up. You might want to use something to keep your fingers off of it, but what'll happen is it'll finish packing the shot down in there, and you may get a little bit of oozing out. That doesn't matter at all. But just try to get it down in there. The glue is not a real fast setting glue, so it doesn't form up, doesn't solidify. Now at the end of that, I've got a shotgun shell. If you can see, it's crimped there. You just force it back out, and it'll be warm, but it's not, it's not dangerous. If you drop it, it won't go off. But there is a perfectly formed, sealed up hot glue slug, and you saw what it would do on the video that I did before. So there's nothing to be fooled with right there. It's obviously doesn't have the punch that a high brass or 3-inch slug would have, or 3.5-inch slug would have. But somebody using this for home defense, if you pull this out on somebody, you'd get their attention, believe me. So hope that helps.